trucks, campers, skydiving. Oh my, this is going to be really, really tough tonight, guys. My voice is shot. It's the Grouch at 14,000 feet, next on Live Free and Ham. All right, well, hello and welcome to the Live Free and Ham podcast. This is our weekly show where we discuss ham radio topics in New Hampshire, New England, and beyond. And we're thrilled to have you here, whether you're a regular listener or tuning in for the first time. And thanks again for joining the episode. All right, well, let's get in the show. I'm your host, Eric, call sign N1JUR, and I'm with the skydiving fiend.
N1OG, the Grouch.
And the General.
W1STJ, Todd.
All right, cool, guys. Well, we are going to get into a little bit of the basics here before we start the show. First and foremost, my apologies on my voice. I am, I felt like I've been at a concert for 24 hours straight, screaming my lungs off like a teenage girl. However, that's not the case. I got a cold from my wife, and apparently that's the part of the package deal. So, yeah, that is just the way it is, guys. You got to deal. All right. Well, anyway, so that's why we're going to be talking all around Paul tonight. So, I can save a little bit of my voice. So as we always like to say, head on over to our storefront at livefreeandham.com/shop. Check out all the merch, pick up some bacon, a bacon pack of our hammies. And we're starting to add more shirts to the store. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for some of those new, as they hit the shelves there. So also, if you want to connect with our community, you can do that in a number of ways. We love, to have you guys, join our live stream every month, as we, get, settled into the month of May. We'll definitely be announcing that soon. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and, click that bell so you don't miss anything. You can always reach out to us via SMS, and you can leave us a voicemail at 978-233-1142 for a good time. And all those links are always in the bottom of our show notes, and on our website. So if you'd like to support our show, as always, you can become a Patreon member and you'll get a ton of free stuff. I should say a butt ton, because that's actually a metric calculation there of free stuff. And those can include things like show early releases, our uncut and unedited version of our video and audio podcast streams of each episode. And as Bob Koff always says, and I am on what the heck? I got to go to the right screen here. This would be great if I actually had the right key up. So anyway, as Bob Koff always says, and I can't press the button because it's not programmed anymore. Damn it. All right. Well, anyway, you can join for less than $3, as Bob always says. And we always appreciate that if you want to support the show. Okay, so we've got a couple of things this week. So let's dive into the first one here. Why am I all over the map?
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
Hey everybody, we got some news.
Slow down, Boog. Let me handle this. We've got some news. I've got bad news and bad news.
I have reviewed ship's personnel, Captain.
Congratulations, you've got mail.
All right. Well, You got some mail, right, Todd?
Yeah, we got a voicemail from, I think it's W1TED, Tango Echo Delta. And he's one of our club members. So, Eric, can you play it for us? Let's hear what he has to say.
Sure. Here we go.
Hey, guys, it's Ted, W1TED. I was driving home listening to the podcast, and you advised to stop listening to the podcast and leave a voicemail. So that's what I'm doing. It occurred to me that it's a little odd that a New Hampshire-based amateur radio podcast would have a Massachusetts area code of all things for the voicemail phone number. Just think maybe that's something that should be considered. Talk to you later.
Well, Ted, I'm going to have to tell you, when I first saw the phone number, I mentioned that to Eric, like, why'd you get a Mass number? Why didn't we get a New Hampshire number? And I guess it just has to be with the voicemail system, I guess, right? They don't take New Hampshire numbers.
Well, as far as I understand, a lot of the New Hampshire numbers are pretty regulated in terms of the phone world, because I do a lot of voice over IP stuff for customers. And if you're getting a free number, which we got, apparently 978 numbers are plenty available. So I went with the last 7 digits that were easy to remember. You're welcome. You're welcome, Ted. There, that's simple as that. So,
well, Ted, if you'd like to donate to our voicemail phone bill, we'd be glad to get a 603 number.
Because it's astronomical. Yeah.
Well, thanks for the voicemail, Ted. That's awesome. Like getting those, and always wondering what you guys are thinking of and what you're thinking, but that's good. So yeah, we're gonna stick with the 978 number unless someone wants to pay the phone bill, and we'll change it to a 603.
Or 900 number. You tell us. We'll charge you per minute then. All right. Well,
Do you even have those numbers anymore?
I do that. I don't know. My teenage years are long gone, so I couldn't tell you. So, all right. Well, with that, thanks again, Ted, for leaving us a voicemail and following the rules to the letter of the law, because I literally said, hey, you just stop what you're doing and call the phone number, and he did exactly that. So what's wrong with all you other jabronis? You can't follow the rules? Let's go. We should be having a buttload of voicemails showing up, and he's the only one who follows through. So kudos for him. All right. Okay, so let's kick off. We got another do good, so we're going to kick the do good off.
Doing good. Good. Doing good.
You do. That's good.
Do good. Do good.
You're doing good.
Absolutely, I do. Good.
Do it good, Bob. Do it real good.
Right now, my only outlet is my ham radio.
All right. Well, hey, we haven't done a do good in a while, so we all aspire to do good in ham radio. So whether it's assisting a disaster, providing communications for that local road race, hosting a POTA meetup, we all love to participate in some ham radio activities. However, we hear a ton of negative voices out there, and they always try to overshadow our enjoyment. So I'm going to raise my fist, and if I could scream anymore, I'd probably really lose my voice tonight. So I'm going to say, just bring on the good deeds, guys. This is the ASMR version of, screaming. And so we want to share a story. So, Paul, we've got one in a wind leak. Is that correct?
We do. We have an overachiever in WinLink, and so this email comes from KC1QDK, and he writes, "Hello, Todd, Eric, and Paul. Here is my contribution to the Do Good segment of the show. April 26th, members of the Granite State Amateur Radio Association, KC1VYM, KC1QDK, N1JUR, and KC1TLY spent Saturday teaching the LDS youth group in Peterborough about ham radio. We had a POTA demonstration, a bunch of HTs, an HF rig, and learn your name in CW station. It was a ton of fun and nice to see young people interested in the hobby. Anyways, great job, guys. I love the show. Signed, your biggest fan, Tim, KC1QDK."
True that, Tim. Very cool, Tim. Awesome. Yeah,
he wants to be on the podcast then. So
well, he's gonna. We're gonna have to.
Well, so we have a wait list now. Like we must have.
Almost. I don't know if it's a full huge long list, but it's starting to build up some steam there. So we'll find out.
Podcast for all our WingLink
dedicated WingLink folk.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in seeing that whole event, actually, funny story is I created a video on my channel of it. And I can't tell you how much I've had so many comments back on that video, and all of them were like, "Oh, that would explain the N1 IMO repeater that I was on. And I heard a whole bunch of kids talking to adults, and I couldn't figure out what was going on, but it sounded really cool." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, now it makes sense. I get to see it real time." So I'll post that video from my channel in the show notes. So if you want to go check that out and see what that is, or you can always head over to my channel and check it out. It was a fun time, even though it was raining. Would have been nice to do it outside, but all good. All right. Well, without further ado, we're going to jump into it.
It's everyone's favorite segment.
And now, a little something extra with Todd, W1STJ.
Still a general. So Tim at the club meeting on Friday told me that I should really just slow down on my studying, so I stay a general, because he thought this was one of the best parts of the podcast.
Talk
He goes,
talk
"What are you
about
gonna?"
like,
He goes, "What are you gonna do if you become an extra?" He goes, "That whole section will be gone."
nah. Well, like I said, we'll have to evolve it.
All right, let's go.
We'll turn it into the VE Quizmaster section or something.
Yeah, well, heck, or become like one of those things that we just kind of pull out when we do like live streams or go out in the public or whatever. And, because heck, Amex is coming up in the summertime. So, it's always that. And, we can always do men on the street type stuff. So always looking forward to it either way. But, the real answer, Todd, is not what are you going to do when you turn an extra? You're going to do the same thing you were when a general, because how often are you going to go into those portions of the band that you're so longingly want to go to? I mean, I got there, checked it out, and went, oh, cool. And I don't think I've been down there in a long time.
It's not so much about going to the bands. It's just about getting to the same level.
It's a status symbol. Yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
Do you feel any different, Paul, that you're an extra?
No. And honestly, in so many ways, I consider myself to be an extra class moron. Like,
yes, that's a good point.
I understand the theory behind a Smith chart and all of that stuff, but like, I haven't had the hands-on practicality of it yet.
No,
well,
me neither.
Tim said he still hasn't gone on the extra band since he became an extra.
No, right. That I was gonna get. That was my next point. Was like I had asked him, like,
you haven't even made a contact on the extra band yet.
No, not yet. I mean, so there you go. You might not realize that you have to be an extra, but hey, that's totally okay. All right, so let's get into the generalities here. So you've always heard it. This is where we help Todd study for his extra class license. Each episode, we always pick 3 questions from the extra class question pool to test his knowledge, hoping he gets his upgrade. You can always follow along and head over to hamstudy.org, which is a great resource to help you prepare for your test and is recommended by 4 out of 4 volunteer examiners, because, we won't ask anybody else for their opinion when it comes to VE testing, because they're the ones and the authority. So, all right. So without further ado, I hand it over to our skydiving master and VE quiz captain. I guess we'll call you more than that, whatever. But take it away, Paul.
Skydiving newbie. All right. Todd, question number 1 from the all questions question pool. What type of satellite appears to stay in one position in the sky? Is it A, geostationary, B, HEO, C, LEO, or D, geomagnetic?
There we go.
All right.
Did you just wave me on?
What?
Did you just wave me on to like?
Yeah, I was waiting for the music. All right, so it's definitely not the Pope. So I'm gonna go with A, geostationary.
A is correct.
Nice. There we go.
So to give an explanation, a geosynchronous satellite is actually moving along its orbit just like any other satellite. It is at a height and position such that this orbital rotation matches the Earth's rotation, so it appears to be stationary. LEO means low Earth orbit, and HEO means high elliptical orbit, and both are not relevant to this question. A geomagnetic orbit is not a thing. I think it's really not. So thanks there, KD7 BBC, for that explanation.
Very cool.
Oh boy, here we go. Just as I was mentioning Smith charts.
Oh boy, and they appear.
So Todd, on the Smith chart shown in figure E9-3, what is the name for the large outer circle on which the reactance arcs terminate? Is it called A, the impedance axis, B, the polar axis, C, the prime axis, or D, the reactance axis?
There's no E option. The evil axis.
So, yeah, this outer ring is what they're referring to.
You know, I want to say E, but I think it's C. Because I think this is one I was always putting D in. I was positive it's C. I'm going to go with C. All right, that's easy. What do you think?
I'm going to go with D. It's either A or D.
Well, I will tell you, Todd, C is definitely not it. So, Eric says D, and D is right. It's reactance.
Because
it measures, impedance and reactance. Yep.
Yes, and so if you remember, it's reactance. All right, so 50% there, Todd.
Uh-oh.
The third and final question of the evening. How does a switch mode voltage regulator work? Is it A, by alternating the output between positive and negative voltages? B, by varying the duty cycle of pulses input to a filter? C, by varying the conductivity of a pass element? Or D, by switching between two Zener diode reference voltages?
I need the music for this one. Switch.
All right. I'm going to go with D.
I would say A.
That's my second guess. It's either A or D.
Well, the good news is you only see the question once.
What?
You only get to answer once.
I know.
All right. So final answer, Todd?
I'll go with D.
D is incorrect. All right. Eric said A.
Yep.
A is also incorrect.
Wow. Okay.
It is B. By varying the duty cycle of pulses input to a filter. And so to explain, a switch mode voltage regulator switches the source voltage on and off in varying amounts of time. The amount of time it's on versus it's off is known as the duty cycle. You are then left with a pulsating voltage, and so a filter is used to smooth it out. So your memory aid, which truck has S mode, switch mode? That's Ford Super Duty, I guess.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know if that helps you, but there you go.
Well, Todd.
You are, and always will be, Keely fucking Jones.
Yes, you will. All right. Cool. All right. Well, so with that, so if you're on the journey to studying for your technician general or extra class license, and in that case, hamstudy.org is an awesome resource for getting your ticket. And as we always like to say, if you recently received your license or upgrade, let us know. And we actually have one. So, Mr. N1OG, care to do the honors?
So, huge shout out to Matt, Kilo Echo 9, Charlie Whiskey Lima. He let us know on the 6th of May that he just upgraded to extra and is pretty excited about it. So congratulations, Matt.
Congratulations. I'm envious.
Great job, Matt. And thanks for letting us know, because we always like to revel and rejoice with you guys, as you know, as you've learned through these trials and tribulations with Todd. You know, it's a struggle sometimes to get to that next upgrade there in your class license. So We want to make sure that, you get the recognition you deserve, and we'll do the same for Todd when he finally gets there too as well. So, all right. Well, with that, you can always, yeah, exactly. You can always email us at livefreeandham@gmail.com or post over on our Discord, and let us know that you got upgraded, and we will make sure we mention it on our next episode. And thanks again, for, being part of the crew. All right.
Hey, you guys ever watch the Cash Cab? My wife watches the Cash.
A long time ago, yeah.
Well, I guess they now have a woman doing it in Chicago, and it's like you can do your mobile call out or your out the car call
street shout out.
Street shout. Can I make a recommendation to the ham radio community that I should be able to make a mobile call out and a street shout out?
Who you get a mobile call out? Who would you got a mobile call out on the repeater?
Yeah, I'd call out Bill.
Oh, I see. Have your army of test takers waiting on standby. So if you need to make a mobile call, which actually might help some of our other challenges we were going to do. We were going to try to do some live repeater QSOs, so that would be a good dovetail in that. We could really expand on this quite drastically. Interesting. All right. Well, we'll put that one in the back of the memory banks there, and hopefully we'll maybe integrate it. We'll see how it goes. All right. Well, in our usual format, we like to get into our ham radio weeks. So we'll give Todd the floor here first, because we know Paul is chomping at the bit. He's had a freaking busy week. We are super excited to hear about it. Yeah, he will. We'll dovetail right into him. He's just going to have to talk about ham radio specific if he hasn't done any ham radio. That'll be it. So with that, go ahead, Todd. How's your ham radio week been?
It has been pretty non-productive. I'm in the process of hooking up my laptop to a docking station, and I can't get the stupid monitors to work. But the docking station worked because it charges it. And everything else seems to be working. So had to order some new cords. They came a little late, but I've got them. So hopefully by next week I'll be back on the mic. So I'm doing this podcast just from my my MacBook. Seems to be doing all right. But yeah, I haven't really done much ham radio. Just I went to the club meeting, which was good. Eric did a nice presentation.
Thanks for running the PowerPoint there for me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, the clicking.
Yeah, it works. It was good enough, man.
It wouldn't click. That is like the oldest laptop I've ever. Like, how old is that thing? Like 20 years old?
It's going on probably 20 years.
Yeah, it's pretty old. I kept clicking it wouldn't go. I'm like, why isn't it not working?
Did you give it a next slide, please?
Yeah, every
next
time.
Slide, please.
Oh yeah, next slide.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Todd, can you do that? Todd, go ahead. Todd.
No, so it was good. I wasn't gonna be at the meeting because I thought I had baseball, but we've had so much rain here in New England that
you've decided to become a water polo coach.
Well, my whole yard, I cut the grass today. I could only cut like 3/4 of it because a quarter of it's underwater. My fire pit literally has like a foot of water around it and in it, like the big fire pit, like where I throw all the brush and stuff. I was like, holy crap. So all the water just ran down.
Paul's been so luckily missing out on all that.
So there's no baseball. I got to go there, and then I was supposed to go down to Marshfield, Mass, and that game got called. So all I had to do was drop Zach off for practice at the Bedford football field.
Sweet.
We have one of our guys, Corey. His son is on the team, and he runs the athletic department for Bedford, so we get priority. So our kids practice on the rainy weather on the Bedford High School football turf field.
Nice.
For baseball. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, so that's that. And probably not going to do much this week either. I've got a baseball every day of the week. I got 3 games and tryouts for All-Stars. So I'll be on the repeater to and from work. And I did clear out. I had it cleared out, but I cleared out even more where my DX commander is going.
Oh yeah, I'm coordinating. Actually, funny thing is you mentioned that because I'm actually trying to finish coordinating with Jason and Shane at the same time to do a trifecta live stream of all three of us assembling the DX Commander Classic, and the first one to get it up to then make a contact and make the farthest contact on it wins, the ultimate.
Is this mine or yours?
I don't have mine anymore. It's been disassembled. I'm talking about, well, you haven't built yours. Shane hasn't built his, and neither has Ham Radio 2.0. So I said, dude, let's stop bitching about the idea of like, you're going to do it someday with Shane and blah, blah, blah.
I'm going to put it, I'll put it up and just run a short piece of coax to the A91 and make contact.
Dude, whatever it is, we're going to do a triple live stream, all of us at the same time. And we're going to see who gets the damn thing built first. And then who gets it on the air and makes a contact. That'll be the deciding factor, how far you get. Yeah. Yeah. So we're coordinating that. So stay tuned.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
All right. Well, box. I haven't even opened the box, not even from it's still sealed with the tape and stuff.
Well, all three of you guys are pretty bad. I mean, Jason's has his in a box and Shane's got his over in the corner too. So, it's no big deal. No surprise. So, all right. Well, since you had a little bit of ham radio, I'm most only going to play this once.
Welcome to another Tales of the Diamond by Todd W1STJ.
Hey, I want to know, honestly, I want people to respond, send emails, do our things. What do you think about my baseball stories? Are you guys done with baseball? I know some of you guys made fun of me about talking about the Flying Club, but it's baseball season. It's all I do right now.
Dude, that's why I have this little segment. When baseball season's gone, I know it might be tales from the basketball court or tales from wherever, or I'll have to create one for the Flying Club. People love to hear that. Steve. Dude, we're just trying to create more space for other segments. Eventually, the extra is going to go away.
Todd's baseball, yeah.
And we can't.
I got 15 kids. I got to drop it down to 11.
We can't be pigeonholed into this. We only talk ham radio all the time. Come on. We're not going to be like any other ham radio show.
Oh, you should have seen me today. I was blowing up. I was burning stumps because I have to get these stumps up from last year, and I tried to kill them by putting like bleach in them, peroxide, whatever, just trying to rot them out. I had them covered with these things. I got holes drilled into them. So today I was like, fuck it. I'm just throwing gasoline down them, and I just lit them on fire, and then they would burn, and then they'd go out, and I'd throw more gasoline on it. And so tomorrow I'm taking the day off. I'm taking my axe and chop the crap out of it, and hopefully it's going to break apart a little easier. But Dan's like, oh, they're just shallow roots. Nope. Shallow roots. They're freaking huge. They're like this round.
I need time to get a stump grinder.
Yeah, I know. And my neighbor down the road, he's got like everything. And I go to him and go, hey, you don't by chance have a stump grinder, do you? He goes, nah, I don't got one of those.
You need to buy one. Then let me borrow it. That's the way it goes.
Well, my old neighbor, before he moved, he had one. He got one like dirt cheap, and he just goes around and charges people, and he just drags the thing around and does it. It's awesome the way they work. I mean, a stump goes away in like 10 seconds.
Oh yeah, they get obliterated fast.
And they just turn into sawdust. So
cool.
All right.
Well,
Eric, how was your ham radio week?
Well, I know you normally go to me, but I was just going to. You have any ham radio stuff at all, Paul? I know you have a little bit. You can touch on maybe some of the stuff with Mike and Chris. Those were POTAs, So I'm going to pass over to Paul first before he goes to me. So over to you, Paul. How's your ham radio week been?
Well, all right. So ham radio wise, yes, I turned some states green.
Yes, you did.
So I activated New York with Mike and 2MAK, and I got the sticker to prove it.
Ooh, nice job. Was that given to you before or after you decided to take the water plunge?
That was before. Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure. It wasn't a sympathy sticker.
No, it was honestly, it was great. Mike came out to the farm. So through my travels, I stopped at different farms and stuff. It's called Harvest Hosts, and so he came out. He met up with me, even though it was sopping wet and freaking cold and miserable. We got to activate inside of his rental Jeep Wagoneer, which honestly, that was my first park activation from a vehicle.
Wow.
So,
and in luxury too, so not bad.
yeah. So that was cool. And then, so that was Monday. And then on Wednesday, while I was in Ohio, I met up with Chris Bricker. He came out to the farm that I was staying at, and we went to Punderson State Park. So Mike and I, we did Pittstown State Forest. Chris and I did Punderson State Park. Absolutely beautiful park. And a lot of jokes were made because so Chris is an Air Force veteran, and he's been licensed for quite a while, and he has never made a sideband contact.
What? Are you kidding me? What? Wow.
So I popped his sideband cherry.
Wow. Holy moly.
What does he use? What did he do?
He's a digital operator. He loves to operate digital, and so that's his thing. And I said, all right, well, I'm not going to try and do a dual op digital.
I know that would have drove you nuts.
So I was like, I hate to do it to you, but I'm gonna make you do sideband. And
dude, that was awesome.
The people that we made contact with were absolutely fantastic because they could tell that he was a little unsure of himself initially. He did find his rhythm, and he got it going. So it was a fantastic time. It was great to hang out with him. Of course, I think he didn't go home till about midnight that night. So,
oh wow, cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, we hung out for a good long while.
Did you cuddle after? Because after you got him on sideband, I'm sure you had to. It was kind of they gotta give him comfort.
No, we actually attended the Toads members meeting on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
And so that was kind of cool. Like, we were in the Toads members meeting that Wednesday night, him and I from the RV. So, all right. So ham radio. All right. So the next ham radio thing that I did was yesterday. I made a 14652 contact with Kilo 9er Oscar Lima, Parachute Mobile from Rochelle, Illinois.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Nice. And we should just leave that there and let it hang out there for a little bit. Just, let people marinate so people understand where, if you haven't been following along for a while, why he's down that way. But cool. That's awesome, man. I'm very jealous. I don't have a 5.2 contact from the flying Mexican. So eventually one day I will, I promise. It's on my bucket list.
When it comes to Pepperell. I'll be out
or
there.
we go to Dayton, one of the two. It's the way it goes. Of Dayton 2026, right?
So so he's going to be headed to Dayton Wednesday, and if the weather's good, he's hoping to make some parachute mobile jumps out of Dayton.
Very cool.
The drop zone just south of Dayton, but So it was cool to finally get a parachute mobile contact in the log.
Now, here's the real cool catch. If we can make it work, if you finish up your Class A and finally get it locked in, which you're probably on track for that, you could be the second scheduled jumper in Dayton in terms of giving more opportunities for more to make contact. And now they can be the Grouch and the flying Mexican, making 5.2 contacts. That would be kind of cool.
Parachute Jesus. You got to get it right.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Why do I keep saying that? I thought it was my mistake. Parachute Jesus, the formal time. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, we're going to get in a heck of a lot more with that, in a couple of seconds here. So, my week, outside of, capturing this cold this past weekend, I had got a chance to go back to my old stomping grounds in Arlington because I had a client down there outside the Boston area. And there was a park I used to hang out as a kid. And I figured, heck, I'm going to go over and activate it. It was a blast. I had fun. The bands were so, but you know, for what it was worth, it was more just about the experience. And got a chance to go check out a couple of old places I used to hang out in my teenage years and stuff. And so, it was all fun doing that. And then, outside of this weekend, being sick has somehow compelled me to bang out like 3 videos. So I've got the spool antenna coming up, which I'm super excited about. That'll be launching probably Wednesday, hopefully, if I finish up the last bits of it. And then I got a couple other 2 videos bookending those on Tuesday and Thursday. So that should be good. If you're a Patreon member on my channel, you'll definitely have already seen them, or on my YouTube channel, either one. So if you're interested in getting early access to that, cool. But as Todd alluded to, I ended up doing a POTA presentation with our club. It was kind of surprising because I usually do the introductory POTA kind of presentation where I'm teaching people how to do POTA, but I figured there was enough people in our club that would already know how to do it. And it turned out that that wasn't the case. There were a bunch of people that did,
I know,
but not enough. Good.
Yeah, I was surprised at how many people had never done it before.
Yeah, I mean, especially after I did the POTA presentation almost a year ago, and all of the people that were like, "Oh, I'm going to go out and do it." Apparently, 2 years later, they didn't, actually get around to it. But all good. I mean, it was awesome because I really did it kind of more as a tips and tricks and hacks kind of thing. So I talked less. I only did it in 30 minutes, and then we just had a whole bunch of extra time to, sit around and talk about gear and people's, setups and all that stuff. Tim brought his 6200 and his Alex Loop, and a couple other guys brought their full QRP kits, and it was a blast. It was just really, really good.
I brought my POTA gear.
Oh, you did? Okay. I didn't get a chance to bounce around.
How I said, look, you can get 100 watts in a backpack with room to put your clothes in for an overnight.
And a bug zapper.
And a bug zapper. Yeah, it was good. It was pretty good. It was cool to see some of the radios. I really like that the Electrocraft.
The Electrocraft, you mean?
Electrocraft, yeah.
Okay. I don't know an Electrocraft, but isn't that a vacuum?
Late time is it? It's like I've been out freaking mowing the grass, doing a lot of work. I'm exhausted, to be honest with you. But I do. But they're so expensive,
Oh yeah.
And then
they're pretty petty, man.
And then there's all these add-ons. So Bill was showing me the add-ons that he's got, and I'm like, oh, is that extra? Oh yeah, that's extra.
Yeah.
That's extra. Oh yeah, that's extra. So it's kind of
Electrocraft always equals extra. That's just the way it goes.
Holy crap! All this stuff. And then we were sort of talking about the Yaesu with the 100 watt amp that you could put in. That's expensive.
I felt bad. I felt bad for the Zoom people because I forgot to pivot the camera towards me. So while Todd was doing all the slides, the camera was still faced where Ralph was standing doing all the business stuff. So they'd hear me talk, but they wouldn't see any of my slide present. They saw the slide presentation, but they didn't see the video. So I was like, okay, don't worry about it. I'll have a full video I'll send, and post up on the website. So they hopefully that'll, ease some of the people.
What was pretty awesome is we're spending some money in the club, which I was shocked. So
our club is funny.
So the big debate of the night was for field day. Are we going to rent a, what do they call those tents?
20 by 40 wedding tent.
20 by 40 wedding tent. And if we are we going to set it up and take it down ourselves, or have someone come and do it for us? And my view was we're going to have someone set it up and put it down because...
Oh, you felt that way? Okay.
Yeah, I voted for have someone come.
I didn't care either way, but
I don't have to worry about it, because I said, because what's going to happen is all these people are not going to be there at the end, and it's going to be like me and Eric and probably Paul taking it down and trying to put it back together, because that seems to be what it is almost every year. It's the same people.
There's a lot of people that help tear down field day, and it goes down pretty quick. But it's a setup stuff.
Those tents are huge. That's not an easy task, especially if you've never done it before. So then, so it passed, but the few people that didn't, I was like, oh yeah, if the thing didn't pass, I was gonna be like, so I'm gonna take your names, please, and you are on the takedown crew at the end of field day and responsible since you voted that you didn't want to spend the extra $100 or whatever it was.
I thought somewhere along the line they got a little confused because they thought we were going to move all of our station captains and everybody underneath it, and I'm like, no. I understood where that came from, but
no, I didn't think that at all.
I know you did, but everybody in the back thought that. They were like,
well, why not?
It's under a tent.
It's stupid. Like, I'm like, why would we put, Steve's camper and all of the rest of the other people with their small little stations underneath the big tent when we always put all of our station captains out in the corral for field day, and that's where they usually stay anyway. And the tent was only for, the education pavilion and people to socialize underneath it, not for, radio operating per se. So
it's good to have either way, because if it rains, we have a place to hang out and stay dry. And if it's sunny out, it'll be cooler.
We can stay cool. Yep.
Under the tent. So
yeah, I don't know. I would put the stations in the tent and just run long coax runs out 3 different directions to the antennas.
Dude, I really like
triplexer.
Here's okay, triplexer, yes, but how many people actually remember to use the proper cable because they can't afford 2 seconds to go over and switch bands because they just are like lazy? And the other issue is that I don't want people closer to me. I want our stations spread out. I like having I like to be rowdy and loud when we want to be rowdy and loud, while the other guys are over there pounding the brass or doing whatever. So yeah, no, it was never like for me, I like how we have it set up.
I don't think it needs to be in a.
No, we don't. It doesn't. We're not like one of those clubs that like we have 19 stations all under one tent and we all have full audio. And
you ever get clarification? Are we doing are campers allowed or not allowed this year?
Let's table that. We'll talk that offline. But no comment for right now. I'm not the coordinator this year. I'm an advisor to the coordinator, which Mark is a great guy. He's doing an awesome job.
Yeah, I was talking about
you see Paul's raising his eyebrows there. We'll talk offline. I don't want to put this on the podcast. Anyway.
Oh, you didn't know about this, Paul? You didn't know about it? I was like, poor Paul.
Wow, you just keep poking the bee's nest, huh? We'll talk later.
All right.
Anyway, so now that we've stirred that one up, let's kind of dive into what we're going to talk about tonight, because, I'm sure if you've been following along for quite a while, you know that N1OG has been prepping. He's been preparing. He's been scrimping. He's been saving. He's been doing everything under the sun to get ready for this day. And as he's been leading up to it, he's been letting us know what's been going on. And so, we're going to give him the show to catch you up. But like we had said we were going to do, as not so much this episode, but I think in our future episodes as kind of time goes on, because where he's currently at, he's going to go into more detail, but he's going to be there for a little while. So, we're going to do a little quick updates from time to time. That way, if you happen to catch those updates later and you're like, well, what's the originating story? Well, you can go back to this episode and listen to the full end to end and get yourself caught up. So, we've developed a segment, and that new segment, and for this one, it's a full episode of the show, but we're going to call it
What's Up with N1OG Now, a segment where we catch up with Paul on his travels.
All right. Well, there you go. So, I'm super excited. I've been getting little bits and pieces. If you're following Paul on social media, and his YouTube channel, and at this point, I have to apologize up front because I didn't know you were a subscriber to my channel. So I'm an ass for not subscribing to your channel and bitching, hey, why can't I see your members only video? So I now have to turn around and subscribe to your channel so I can catch up on all the videos that I'm going, why can't I watch them? So yes, we'll get that straightened out very quickly. And you've heard it publicly. I've announced, N1JUR is a total dick for, basically calling Paul out. So anyway, with that, we'll lead into, so dude, elaborate, start with day one and bring us up to current.
The quote on Discord that I thought was the best is like, I pulled the parachute cord or whatever. Like what you said on Discord, you're like, at least I pulled the cord, or the parachute cord. I was like, well, thank God you did, because you wouldn't be here right now if you didn't. It came up on my phone. It goes, but at least I pulled the parachute cord, or I pulled the cord, or I pulled the chute, something like that.
Is that one who he's talking about his redoing his jump?
Yeah, and he said at least he pulled the cord.
Yeah, I said just finished my first jump, failed, but I pulled the chute on time and landed safely.
I pulled the chute. I was like, well, that's a good story. How do you fail if you pulled the chute and you landed safely?
I questioned that too, but I was like, he's going to tell us anyway.
All right. Well, let's start at the beginning, shall we?
In the beginning. Okay.
So last year, what was it? April, May, when we had our K9OL.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
we
Man Crush.
That is when it all started.
Yep.
So we had our episode that was specifically about K9OL Carlos. And his parachute mobile antics. And I had said, just like I had said for years and years in the past, like someday I want to skydive. Like I've always been fascinated with flying, and what better way to fly than to fly your own body, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, Carlos didn't hold any punches, and he told me straight up that episode, he said, what are you waiting for? Like, stop saying someday you're going to do it and just start making a plan to do it. And so then you fast forward to October, where we had reschedule after reschedule after reschedule after reschedule of the first tandem, and the live stream attempts that
3 times over. Yep.
I think everybody was just as frustrated as I was at that point, because it was like, when is this gonna frickin' just happen?
Mm-hmm.
And so after that first tandem, I was hooked. I wanted to skydive in the worst way. So I started looking, and Pepperell's got a terrible reputation. Like, just being honest, Pepperell has an absolutely terrible reputation. So I didn't want to learn in Pepperell. And so my other option was Skydive New England, which is in Lebanon, Maine. And that's it's about a 3.5 hour drive from Merrimack. That would have been doable, but I was talking with Carlos about it because I wanted his input. Right? He's got the experience, he's got the knowledge. Like, I wanted his input. He was like, well, not for nothing, but like, Chicagoland Skydiving Center is one of the top 10 places in the country. Like, if you're gonna have to travel anyway, if you can make it work, this is a good option. And so I looked it up. I went on their website. They've got a Free Fall University is what it's called. It's a training program that is specifically designed to get you your A license from 0 jumps to the end. And so so I started reaching out to the drop zone, and I said, okay. Initially, the plan was for me to do this in June, where in June I was going to road trip to Illinois and just enroll in the program and be here until it was done. But my plans changed. Life changed. So I didn't end up going to Florida for the month of May. So that bumped my timetable up a month. And I said, well, why wait? Right? Like, why wait? So May 5th was when I officially left New Hampshire on my road trip. And I'll try and remember to keep my face pointed towards the microphone, because I know the last episode I turned away a few times. I turned away, and it cuts the audio. But so I left May 5th, Monday, May 5th, I drove. I planned it out so that it was no more than 4 hours drive time each day, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't burn myself out. And like, while I've driven cross country numerous times, I've never done it towing a 30-foot camper. It's a it's a giant sail that you're just towing behind you, and so I should have taken the time at Nearfest, while I had other people handy, to finalize my off-grid preps. Right, so I bought a power inverter so that I could convert the DC voltage from the batteries to power at the very least my outlets, so that I could have coffee in the morning and whatnot. Yep. The studio is all powered from the All Powers power station, so that's a completely separate entity, and I can run that off grid. Come to find out, if I'm not using the computer and I'm just powering like the radio and the Starlink, these All Powers power stations will go for about 9 days.
Wow.
So yeah, so even when I got here, the All Powers still had life left in them. Now, the 12-volt deep cycle RV and marine battery that was mounted on the tongue, that did not last very long at all. That failed absolutely miserably. To put it into context, right? So you'll have to bear with me. My ADD brain is going to kind of bounce around in this timeline.
Fine, go with it.
All right. So yesterday, before I was able to move into an RV slot where I am currently, I was just in the parking lot.
Of the top zone?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like literally I took up, I don't know, like 10 parking spaces, and I just, that's where I was residing for that couple days. But after 4 days of travel and boondocking, like it wouldn't have mattered if I had run the truck to try and charge the battery up, or if I and we didn't, dude, my whole travel was all fucking rain. Non-stop rain.
Mm-hmm.
And when I eventually get through my footage, because I took my GoPro Hero session and I mounted it like a dash cam. And so anytime like I was on the road going through someplace that I wanted to record it, I would just turn it on, and you just get your dash cam view. But of course, like when I'm pulling into the drop zone, I hit the record button and I see the light start flashing a little bit saying it's recording. I'm like, all right, cool. Nope, I get off the highway and it is not recording because the fucking SD card's full.
Oh boy. Technology, I love it.
Yeah, so I captured all of the trip up to the end.
And then forgot the end. Yep.
I will say one other giant pain in the ass is, now my truck is gas. And apparently, most people who tow an RV buy a diesel.
Of course.
And so when you stop at truck stops and you stop at gas stations, you've got the nice big areas to pull into for your diesels.
Mm-hmm.
Gas, not so much.
Yeah.
So there was more than one or two little gas stations that I pulled into, and I was like, oh my God, how am I going to get out of this gas station?
I know, right? Yep.
And I was praying for something like a Buc-ee's.
Yep.
Give me.
There's not much going down through Jersey and everything else like that in New York. There, yeah, forget it.
Yeah. And I was getting so up until I hit the flatlands, it was like 7 miles to the gallon.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. Once I got into the flatlands, I got about 8.5 miles.
That's a lot of headwind. That's a lot of headwind for sure.
What?
Well, and because of all the rain, it was windy as well. And so like you could feel it. Like the wind was blowing me around. Anytime I'm in a headwind, like I'm consistent, like just tacking 3,000 RPMs for 100 miles, and then I'm like, I need gas.
Oh my gosh! Yep. Yeah. Dude.
I get paranoid. Right. If my truck gets below a half a tank, I start panicking. I need to find fuel, because if something goes wrong and I can't find fuel, I've only got so much to get me to where I'm going.
Right.
Twice. I was like, I filled up when I finally found the gas station. I filled up, and I have a 26-gallon tank, and I was putting 24 gallons into the truck.
Oh, drain that one close.
Right down to the wire. Yeah, and I absolutely hate doing that. It drives me nuts. Like, so yeah. So there's that. I will say though, like, dude, upstate New York, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
absolutely beautiful. You know, so I got some fantastic pictures and video. Yeah, if
Sorry.
What are you doing?
Huh?
What are you doing?
Nothing. My phone is going off. I took it off the charger. And
Polishing the old torpedo, sir.
Anyway, move along. Continue.
Yeah. All right. So absolutely beautiful. I stopped in Eastern New York the first night. Boondocked at a farm. It's beautiful. I put pictures, I think, on Instagram.
Yeah. What does boondock mean? That you just crash there?
So boondocking is you're camping off the grid. Okay. So you've got no water and no power.
Oh, is this like a random farm that you just pulled up into, or is it a place that allows you?
So there's a program for RVers called Harvest Hosts. Mm-hmm. And so because I had intended to use Harvest Hosts for this trip, it's $99 for the year, but then each place you can stay one night for free. Like they allow you, it's a deal that the farm or the vineyard or the distillery or the brewery or whatever it is, they make the deal with Harvest Hosts, and some of them do have, you know, power and water or the combination, you know, one or the other. But so like, I mean, this place, it just happened to be, I think they raised a bunch of cattle. So they had a whole bunch of cows, and they had a farm stand, and they put me up by their hay barn. I had a nice flowing creek running alongside the trailer. And, after I rolled my ankle, I went and soaked my foot in that creek.
In the creek. Yep. Uh-huh.
You know, because what do you do when you don't have ice and an ice pack, right?
Right. You use the
Mother
water.
Nature will provide. It's ice cold water flowing from up above.
As Mother Nature tells you to wear better supporting soled boots. But anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, okay. I do dumb shit sometimes. It's
That's
just,
okay.
I knew 100%. I knew when I looked at this log going across the creek at Pittstown State Forest with Mike. I looked at it. I was like, all the bark is gone. it's wet. It's got to be slicker than shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wearing cowboy boots with no grip or anything.
Yep.
But on the other side, there was this absolutely beautiful emerald green pool of water. and it was like a big eddy offshoot of the little stream that was flowing through. But the color was so perfect. I was like, I want to get pictures and video over by this pool. So I looked at Mike and I was like, want to bet I can make it across?
Oh, there we go. There, you just screwed yourself.
He's like, nope, I don't. But I mean, go ahead if you want. And I was like, yeah, all right, here we go. And I mean, if you saw Mike's video, he captured it.
He waited till the end. He waited till the end, though. That was good.
He's like, I was gonna say 56-1.
Let's put a little pause there because I got a bone to pick with you, and thank God I got a tough skin because I heard my audio back in the video, and I'm like, what the fuck with the 5'7"? My gosh, come on, really? Like, I deserve way better. I hang out with you. We operate together. A 5'7". Mike's like, yeah, you're 5'9". I'm like, yeah, damn right, I'm a 5'9" because I'm here in the video.
You were good. You were between a 7 and a 9.
Yeah, thanks. I know, but you can never give a 9, can you? You never can give a 9.
No,
to
be honest, there are so many times where like I'll be reviewing my video and I'll go, I shouldn't have given that guy a 5'9". Like that's definitely not. But I wanted to fuck with you a little bit.
Yeah, you were.
Because I heard your call, and then I picked up somebody else, and then you called again, and so it was like, what? Oh, somebody way down in the noise there.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, I'm like, dude, you guys were booming in. It was literally like we're having this conversation now. It was clear as day. There was no static on the bands. There was nothing. I was just like, this is rare because every time I hear Mike on 10 watts, it's just like, why is it I can hear? It's like you were booming in, he was booming in, and I was just like, this is an opportunity. I can't be like as bad as he says it is. And then, I heard the video and I was like, yeah, I figured much, but all good.
Yeah, it was cool. I got to use the 705. I hadn't used the 705 before.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward from there. The next day I took a relaxed day. So I drove another 4 hours. I stopped in Bergen, New York, which is it's just southwest of Rochester. I stayed at a beautiful little vineyard, and I picked up a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon. From
I saw
the vineyard.
That and kind of laughed. I'm like, he poured that stuff out and put whiskey in it.
Well, no. So the bottle of Cabernet is for my wife.
Okay.
There was another bottle that was it was a bourbon wine.
Oh.
And so I used I gave the bourbon wine to Carlos's wife Pam for being so gracious to host me on Thursday night. And I had also picked up a little breakfast basket thing from the first farm.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so the vineyard, it was a really nice place, but man, like just I was so sick of the rain by that point. I was just wet, and everything in the RV was a mess, and I didn't have any water left in my freshwater tank by that point.
Oh gosh, you had to go. Okay.
And so, fortunately, when I first started living in the RV in February, I wasn't using the freshwater tank, so I had empty water bottles, 1 gallon water bottles, and so I filled them from the spigot at the vineyard. So that at least gave me some water to get by. And then so then I drove 4 hours from Bergen, New York, to Chagrin Falls, Ohio, and I stayed at the Messenger Farm. Let me tell you, this place was super cool. 70 some odd acre farm, uh, run by a Vietnam veteran and his wife. And they text me just, like the morning of, and they were like, "Hey, listen, because of all the rain, we have to put you someplace else on our farm."
Mhm.
And so they were like, "The GPS, what you've got for GPS coordinates is going to be a little, short or long of where we want you to be. And so we're going to throw 2 traffic cones out at the end of the road where we want you to pull in." And I was like, "All right, that's cool." So I pulled in, I parked over by one of their barns. They happen to have power hookups.
Oh, nice.
So I was able to at least recharge the battery overnight there. I had wonderful conversation with the owners. I wish my memory didn't suck so bad, and I
fair.
could remember their names. But the gentleman, so the next morning, Thursday morning, I got up and they invited me to come down to their farmhouse and sit on their porch and have coffee and some whatever bread that they had
Breakfast,
made,
yep.
breakfast
Nice.
bread. And yeah, the old man came out and we shot the shit for a couple hours, and he was like, just take your time. There's no need to rush off. I'm like, well, I kind
The
of
schedule.
got to keep to the schedule.
Nice. Cool.
So yeah, so that was really cool. Do you have a question about?
Oh, I did. No, I'm good. Keep
Okay.
going.
All right. So from Chagrin Falls, Ohio, to the Fort Wayne area in Indiana is about another 4 hours. And yeah, it was super cool to meet Carlos and his wife. Obviously, like, we get to see each other online, right? We interact all the time in Discord and everything else, and Carlos and I we text on the side, because the skydiving stuff.
That's what BFFs do.
There's nothing wrong with a man crush, man.
I'm not knocking
No.
it. Circle of trust, man. Circle of trust.
I applaud him tremendously. Like, he's got he's a military veteran. He doesn't put it out there a lot, but he was in the Army, as was his wife. But just really, really cool to hang out there. Watson got to play with Carlos's dog Gracie,
Oh, boy.
which was cool. Like, she's a little bit older, but they had a ton of fun playing. And one of the interesting things is, so Carlos has his screens on his screen doors to go in and out of the backyard. They're cut at the bottom, so that the dog can just go right through.
Yep.
And Watson would sit at the screen
waiting for the
door. He did eventually figure it out after a couple times. Like,
what's this voodoo? This dog keeps disappearing. I can't understand it.
But
Carlos's dog comes to, like, someone brings it to someone's house, and they got the screen door. The dog just, like, bolts right through it,
barreling through.
Just do it.
Well, so that's what he said to me. He's like, "I apologize if at some point, like, your dog just goes straight through the fucking screen door, because
learned behavior." Nice.
But yeah, so that was awesome. Really, really great to just kind of have some downtime and hang out with them. I get to see, Carlos's his work area, and I got to see his garage and his studio and his Radio Shack and all of his antennas and everything. A lot of fun. That was great. And then Friday morning, Carlos made a fantastic breakfast. And then about noon, I headed to the drop zone. So it was about another 4 hours. Take it back. It should have been 4 hours. But oh man, the highway all around Chicago was a freaking nightmare. Like, I'm talking 4-lane highway,
left-hand exits,
what, right and left, and packed. I mean, packed with semis.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I got my CB on. I'm listening to the trucks. I got my 2-meter on. I did put my call out many times throughout the travel. You know, hey, N1OG mobile on this highway. You know, on 152. Like, nope, nobody, nothing, not one person answered my call. So,
dude, not surprising. Yep.
Whatever. But I did have APRS running, so you know, most of the travels is all tracked that way.
It's funny when you got into the New York area, you kind of got a little sketchy because there's just not enough digipeters up that way. But yeah, I kind of pieced it all together. So yeah, not surprising.
And I pulled into the parking lot. Jesus, it was like a little after 4:30. Now we're Central Time here, and so the time change kind of fucked me up a little bit.
Yeah, 1 hour behind. Okay.
But ground school started at 5 p.m. and I pulled in at like 4:30, and I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. The only thing I've done is pay for ground school, and so this place is awesome. It's amazing. The people here are super nice. The skydivers are all super friendly and super helpful. It's like if you took the best people from the ham radio community and you put them in an extreme sport. They
or had them run an HRO, yeah, or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of them actually have interest in ham radio. Like, I mean, I must have talked to 4 or 5 people that were like, "Oh yeah, I started learning, or I took my technician test and I didn't pass, and I'm thinking about getting back into it, or I was learning ham radio when it was code, and and I'm like, dude, there's no code anymore, and you can test online. It's super easy."
I know, right?
So, Paul, so you said when you were at Carlos's house to this jump place, is this jump place that you go, is that where Carlos jumps from? He's 4 hours away from this place. 4 hours. So every time he wants to drop, he's got to drive 4 hours, jump, and then drive home 4 hours.
No. So what he does is, if you follow his channel, he did a series last year where he turned the bed of his little truck into a camper. Okay. Right? He built himself a little bed. He's got like a fridge and all kinds of shit. Couple of really great videos. But what he'll do is he'll drive his truck here and he'll just stay the weekend in his truck. And that way, he's not driving the back and forth. This weekend, one of his buddies let him use his RV, so he get to sleep in the lap of luxury for the weekend.
Not bad.
Yeah. But yeah, so all right, so I did ground school Friday night. That ran from 5 p.m. till about 11 p.m. And then we get to hang out, kind of socialize for a little bit. About midnight, I was like, I'm done, because the morning comes early.
Yep.
So yeah, 6:30. The sun was waking me up before my alarm, anyways. About 6, my alarm went off at 6:30. But got up Saturday morning and The drop zone officially opens at I think 8:30 on the weekends. So by 8:15, I was in the classroom, and we were starting to review, go over all of the things. You would think, oh, there's not that much to learn, you know. I mean, you're just falling through the sky out of an airplane, right? Like, no, there is a lot to learn. And so, I don't know. I don't know if I said it during during the podcast or if it was for the Patreon before. But I've been studying the SIM, the Skydive Information Manual, 2025 edition, since March.
Yeah.
So I've had a couple of months to really go through the book multiple times to put in my mind the things that I need to know, right? Like, how far away do you have to be from clouds? How far away do you have to be from other people? What is the procedure for this? What is the procedure for that? How are things could go wrong with the canopy when it opens up, and how do you deal with those things? And what is the emergency procedures? And so I had the knowledge in my head, but I didn't have the practical use of it. And so that's what all of this was. And it was fantastic. Like, they get these little dummy vests that you can put on with the emergency handles. And, so drilling over and over and over and over and over, drilling. Carlos showing pictures. He's like, okay, so 6,000 feet, right? So you lock on, you look at your altimeter, 5,500. You wave off to let other skydivers know that you're gonna deploy your parachute. You reach and throw. Okay, so we're practicing, and he goes, okay, so your canopy opens, and this picture is what you see, and it'd be like a really fucked up parachute. Okay, now the parachute isn't good. Like, I need to get rid of it. So emergency procedures. So you look down, your cutaway handle is on your right side. You look down to your right, you grab the handle with your right hand, you take your left hand, you put it over the top of it, and then you look to your left, because your left side is where your reserve handle is. And so you hold the look on your left, while with your right, you peel away the handle from the Velcro and then punch it down. And when you punch it down, what that does is it pulls the cords that are attached to the risers, and it just disconnects everything, so that the parachute can fly away from you. And then it gives you the chance to grab the reserve on your left and do the same thing. You peel it away from the Velcro and you punch it down, and that deploys the reserve parachute. And so I'm super happy. Like, I got to do all these drills. It made me feel more confident in my ability, should something fucking go wrong, that
Sure.
I've got a way to save myself. So we started with 2 student tandems. And so, like, the tandem that I did in October, like, literally, I didn't learn anything from it. It was just the experience of flying. This time around, there was objectives to even the tandem, and it was, okay, like, you're gonna reach behind as if you're gonna deploy your parachute, but instead of being a parachute, there's a guy there, and he's got a ball on his hip in the same kind of location, roughly, that your canopy pilot chute would be. And so you grab the golf ball, and you know that it's there. Okay,
They're only the size of a golf ball. They're not bigger.
No, literally, it looks like a golf ball. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it literally looks like a golf ball, dimples and all. and so yeah, but it's just that practice motion of reaching back to grab it. And then I got to pull the tandem parachute.
Oh, wow.
And so then I pull the tandem parachute when we reach the correct altitude. And the instructor behind me, because I can't reach the brakes, the toggles for the brakes, they're way above my head. So he reaches up and he pulls them down, and they have 2 loops. So he's got one set of loops, and then I get the other set of loops. And so he hands me the toggles, and he's like, "Okay, you get to fly the canopy."
Nice.
And so like we knew, okay, I have to. Now, granted, okay, so you deploy at 5,500 feet. By the time the chute opens and you make sure that the canopy's good and it's controllable and steerable, you're 4,000 or so feet at that point. And so you need to fly to where you can hang out in a holding area so that you're in the right place to start your landing pattern.
Uh-huh.
And the landing pattern is essentially it's a long J. So you start the process at 1,000 feet, and you go downwind, and you travel downwind with the wind until you get to 600 feet, and then you make a turn, a 90-degree turn, and you go crosswind until you get to 300 feet. And then you make another 90-degree turn, and you're on your final leg. And then when your feet are about 12 feet off the ground, your eyeballs are not 12 feet off the ground, but when your feet are 12 feet off the ground,
right,
that's when you start to you pull the brakes down to about your chest in preparation for landing. And then when you're about 4 feet, your feet being 4 feet off the ground, you punch it all the way down to your crotch and as hard as you can, like full brakes, so that you get that nice, easy kind of rest down.
Thing.
The tandem parachutes, so hard to pull it because it's such a big parachute because it's holding so much weight. Like, dude, all right. So I get it down to my chest, and I'm like, all right, good. And then I go to push it the rest of the way, and I just couldn't do it. So the instructor helped me out. But one thing, you don't think about it in the moment because you're holding it like this, right? And so your natural reaction is to pull down,
right,
in that same way, where you're using all the minor muscles to do that motion. Whereas if you rotate your wrists, then you start working, with your lats and your upper back, where you can really get that push. So I learned that, and this second tandem jump went really, really, really well. Super happy about it. Like, I did everything right, and they're like, "Good, you're cleared for solo."
Whoa.
Unfortunately, winds wouldn't let me do solo yesterday. So 6:30 this morning, I'm up, I'm ready, going solo. And yeah, we started in the classroom, reviewing, going back over the emergency procedures, practicing. And then they have these like imitation doorways set up. There's like 3 of them around the drop zone, where you can go and you can practice exiting the plane through this fake doorway, and then all of the movement that you're going to do.
Right.
So we drilled. I'm saying all the things right. I'm doing all the things right. I've got it down. It's in my memory. Like I'm walking through the motions of the flight and everything. Like literally, like walking. Like, oh, okay. I'm flying to my holding area. I'm flying to my holding area, and I'm walking to the holding area, and then okay, I'm checking my altitude. And Carlos would tell me what altitude I was, in theory at. And I'd be like, okay, so I got some time, so I'm going to do some practice flaring.
Yeah.
And flare and check my altitude. And Carlos would tell me over my shoulder, okay, this is what your altitude is now. And all right, I got time. I can practice again. Okay, check my altitude. What's my altitude? And he'll give me another altitude reading. Okay, I got a little bit more time. I can do it again. And I'll be like, all right, altitude. He'll go, okay, 2,500. Okay, well, 2,500, all exercises stop. You got to get ready for landing. Okay, so now I'm waiting for 1,000 feet. And I'm waiting. All right. Okay, 1,000 feet, 900. Here we go. I'm starting my downwind. And just being able to physically walk through it, like, it helps cement it in.
Yep.
So my jump went absolutely shit sideways. I came. All right. So I did good things. I did good things, but all right. So we'll go through it in detail. Coming out of the plane, I had two instructors with me. One was there to just kind of observe and help, and he was going to hold on to one side. Carlos is going to hold on to the other side. So I've got the one instructor that's observing on the outside of the plane, and then I've got Carlos on the inside of the plane. I move into the doorway, and I get myself ready, and they call it a hotel check, right? So you check in, you check out, you make sure that both instructors are good. Then you bring your body out of the plane, and you stand up so that you can see the propeller. And you go up, down, and step out. So I wasn't as tall as I should have been outside of the plane, and I was holding on to the door frame a little too tight.
Shit, dude, the plane's flying.
Soloing.
You're on the edge of the door, outside of the plane, hanging on.
Yeah.
Why would you hang on tight?
Yes, the
instinct
plane
tells you to.
The plane's I think traveling about 90 knots at that point, because it slows down for the jumps. But yeah, so on exit, the instructor that was on my left was a little bit far back, and I wasn't arched enough. So when I came out unstable, and Carlos lost his grip because as he was coming out of the plane, because we were already kind of off kiltered, his
Yep.
yeah, so his parachute container caught the door and like really slowed him, and so then we're out, and I'm tumbling, I'm spinning, I'm trying to like get stable, and I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to do, and I'm like, I wasn't freaked out, to be honest. I wasn't freaked out. It was not a moment of panic. It was just, how do I get stable? How do I get stable? And I just kept feeling like I was being thrown around. Carlos tried to catch up to us, and he just couldn't because of the way we were spinning. But So again, back to things I did right. I was checking my altitude, right? Because that's regardless, your number one priority is to pull at the proper altitude. Stability doesn't matter at that point. You need to pull at the proper altitude. And so as I looked down and I saw I was at 5,800 feet, 55 is when I need to pull. The instructor that was still attached to me, holding on, he's flying backside down, looking up at me, and I'm flying belly down, and he gives me the finger, and the one finger pointing out means pull. And so, like, I was already there in the motion of reaching for the pilot chute, and I saw him give me the signal, and I was like, this is it, go. And man, the parachute opened, and you breathe a sigh of relief for a moment, and you look up, and it's like,
dude.
Now, when you pull the parachute, that guy's underneath you, falling on his back, and he just keeps falling. So then he has to turn around, right,
and do the same thing.
His parachute.
So what he had to do was he had to flip back over. You know, he's a instructor himself, so he knows very good at flying. Yeah. He could fly upside down, head down, up, down. It doesn't matter. He's good at flying. But so he has to get away from me so that he can pull his chute and then like beat me to the ground. And so, so I'm up and I'm okay. Let me check the parachute and go through the motions of all the things that I learned. All right, parachute's good. Where's my holding area? Where's the place that I'm supposed to be? So I located it by looking around, and I fly to it, and I'm like, okay, just breathe. This is the coolest fucking thing in the world. Honest to God, I want to get licensed, not so that I can do free fall. I want to do it just to fly a freaking parachute, because flying the damn parachute is so much fun. So I did some practice maneuvers, and then when the time was right, 900 feet, I started my downward leg. I was a little too far north when I started my leg, and so the runway runs roughly east to west. And so my downward leg was to the west, and then I was turning right to the north, and then right to go east into the wind for the final. But as I make the right hand turn to go crosswind, I'm not losing altitude fast enough, and so I'm gonna fly over the runway. You cannot fly over the runway at under 1,000 feet. So I'm like, well, I have to turn early. And so I turned early. I turned, I think, like 750 feet. I turned and started flying east on the final approach. Because I should have turned at 300. And I was at like 7. So I turned and I was like, whatever, I can't go over the runway. I flew it down.
Why can't you go over the runway?
Because the plane's constantly taking off and landing.
That makes sense. Right away though?
No,
they do.
No.
Didn't the air traffic control guy say there's a parachute coming in?
No.
It's not tagged, but it will be picked up.
Well, it's like when you're boating, like a sailboat has the right of way over a motorboat.
Yeah, but a sailboat can't stop on a dime. Like a motorboat can't.
Parachute.
True, but like a plane in its takeoff is not going to be able to shut off engines and come to a screeching halt, especially when it's like halfway in the air.
Because you got some moron that flew over the runway.
All right. All of a sudden he gets
True,
snagged.
but really it all boils down
now
to.
You're coming in, you're 700 feet.
It's okay. His penis is okay. Oh my God.
Sorry, too quick with the button there. Anyway, sorry.
All right, so now you're heading down. You're gonna overshoot the landing gear or the landing spot.
So in theory, yes, I would have overshot it because I turned early. But it actually worked out well that like the way that I came in, where I landed was almost exactly where I needed to be.
Yeah,
I was in the right area.
It's in the right field.
He was in the neighborhood. That's all that matters.
So I got the landing video. It's 4 minutes long. If the internet bandwidth will allow me, I'd like to try and share it with you.
Yeah, give it a shot. Why not? Let's see how it goes.
I will share it without audio, and I'll let you know what's being said. All right. So that's me right there with the big orange parachute. And so Carlos is telling me that I should be close to 600 feet, which is where I need to turn. I wasn't.
How are you talking to Carlos? You have like an earpiece?
He's not. This is after, right?
No. So he had a radio to talk to me.
Oh.
And yeah. So all right. So right there where I just turned to face him, he's telling me, all right, 300 or before the runway. Right? Because
where's
300
the runway in that picture? Is that white line on
the white line on the right hand side.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the runway. And so so like I said, I had to turn early because I was gonna go over the runway. So that he was telling me, he was coaching me through it, like 300 or before the runway. So nice and easy. So here, he's telling me feet and knees together, keep my hands all the way up so we remain in full flight. And so I'm just trying to keep it straight, trying to keep the canopy level. And I'm coming in and I'm coming in. And so here we go. I kept kind of giving a little break. And here he is. So there's my first flare and punch all the way. And I could have actually stood up that landing, but I decided to just sit it
out and relax. That's awesome, dude. That's freaking amazing. So
I'm just telling you right now, if you like the flying of the parachute, you're going to be wingsuiting it in the future.
We'll see. It takes 200 to get to the wingsuit.
I know. I'm just saying, if you're like, I like flying, like those guys, they fly like an airplane, like Superman.
Oh,
they
yeah.
go up and down, and yeah.
That's
but
awesome.
So
my first thought, right, when I'm on the ground is, oh my God, yes, this is amazing, right? I let out a loud woohoo, yeah. And then I go, what did I do wrong?
Carlos is like, everything.
No.
You would never
he
hear
actually,
that, Carlos, but yeah.
He says, to hell with that. He says, what did you do right?
Yep.
Fuck cool. That shit. What did you do right? Those were his words. Yeah. So.
Very cool. That's awesome, dude.
Dude, so you soloed out of an airplane. That's sweet.
He's a bird.
So now so you've done now 3. You did 3 tandem jumps and then 1 solo, right? So you're on 4 jumps right now.
So I did a fun tandem in Pepperell. I did 2 student tandems, so that's 3, and I've done 1 AFF jump, which I have to redo.
What is AFF?
Advanced free fall.
Oh, so do you have to keep, like, you know how pilots have to keep like a log?
Yes.
You have to keep a parachute log of all your jumps.
And my instructors have to sign off on each jump. And so so my log right now has the 3 plus the ground school, because my ground school also got added to the log. And in the log, right? So, like Carlos wrote, all the things that I did right, and he wrote, like, exited in a bad arch, needs to have a good arch, because you want your pelvis towards the ground as much as possible. And so now I'm going to be doing pelvis drills to, like, get that feeling. And let me tell you, dude, my lower back is fucking tight.
Yeah, I don't think I could do this, because that's where I have my arthritis. Like, when I just stretch like that, I can feel it. Oh man.
Well, but so
like lead weight.
I mean, you could do a tandem, because a tandem it's very different, because you're flying with a bigger parachute for one, but it's also got a drogue, and the drogue is what helps keep you belly down. And so I don't have the drogue. I have to make my body do it. But, like, you could do a tandem, So I'm not. I beat myself up about it for a little bit. I'm not upset about it in any way. It was a learning experience.
Dude,
I landed well.
That you land and you're still alive that's a good job. It's a success in my book. I mean, shit. I mean, you're floating down there all by yourself. You had to steer it and land and pull the chute. I mean,
it is freaking amazing, dude. All of us Lifting Him guys are super proud of you, man. It's awesome that you're following through with that. It's great stuff, dude. I am blown away. I'm looking forward to once you finally get how many total do you need to get to your Class A?
So every jump has certain objectives that I have to meet. All right. So the objectives that I did not meet with this one was the flight stability, so that I could do 3 practice. So what you do is, like, you have to be able to fly stable, and then when the coach tells you that you're good, then you have to reach back and you have to touch the pilot chute 3 times.
Yeah,
and that's what your requirement is to pass level 1. And so, because I couldn't fly stable, I couldn't do the practices. So while, yes, I did successfully pull my own chute, I missed the mark. So I have to do it again.
It was your first jump, dude. If you are no one in the planet, I'm sure, pulls it off perfectly.
So if you had flown stable, like you were supposed to do, you wouldn't have pulled the chute. The instructor would have.
Oh no, I still would have pulled it.
Oh
yeah,
okay.
But I would have been able to do the 3 practice touch, and then it would have been a success.
Got it.
Yeah. But at the very least, I maintained my altitude awareness. So and I had a successful landing.
Don't be so hard on yourself. I think it was a success. I mean, shit, you jumped out of an airplane by yourself. You were in a crisis of trying to stay stable, and you still were able to keep your altitude and pull the chute and then fly it to the landing zone without going over the runway.
I agree with Todd 100%. The only thing I would say is next time.
For your first time, dude, that's pretty awesome.
Just stay away from words like failed because you don't want those words incorporated into flying or parachuting.
Yeah, I feel like I failed, but at least I pulled the chute.
Shoot, I know. Like
you can't miss that one. That's like the most important one.
How about this? For any of our people listening or watching that have been in the service, right? You understand go, no go, right? So each of the 25 jumps is a go, no go. So this number one was a no go. So we'll redo it until I'm a go, and then we'll go to 2 and continue on.
So for the rest of our audience, basically by the time you leave there, you will be Class A certified and able to do it all on your own.
I will 100% leave here with my Class A license.
Awesome. That's totally freaking awesome.
Now, when Class A means that now you can come home, you can go to Pepperell and then jump, correct?
Yep. I'd have to rent a chute, but yep. I could go anywhere. Yeah. And so once I have my A license, if I go,
do they teach you how to pack the chute and stuff? I assume.
Yes, I will have a packing class, and you do have to pack your own chute at least once to be able to get your A license.
Now, after you get your A license, are you allowed to do tandems with other people or no?
No, that's a whole nother level. So, so 50 jumps, I can take the test for Class B, and then at 100 jumps, I can take the test for Class C.
Mm-hmm.
And after Class C is when you can start getting, different ratings. And then I think D is kind of like where it's at. Like if you want to be an instructor, like do tandems and AFF and all that fun stuff.
What's the
like
highest?
Teaching
what's
other
the
people.
highest you can get?
Examiner, and that's the license that Carlos is getting right now.
Good for him.
I mean, he's well over 3,000 jumps, and it's taken him several years to get close to examiner. But yeah, I applaud him and everybody else that's here. This place is just a wealth of knowledge and amazingly experienced pilots.
Very cool, dude. Yeah, that is pretty impressive. And would you say something, Todd?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. I saw your mouth moving. I thought it was you were saying something with no audio. No, so dude, we're all blown away. I'm totally super stoked. Just the fact the whole adventure is only a start to something, and then wherever it goes from there, it's gonna be freaking amazing. So
this was day one.
Essentially, I mean, Friday with ground school was really day one,
right?
But this was day one of being able to jump solo.
Very cool.
Very cool,
dude. That's a freaking a lot. I don't like. That was like an itinerary and a half of stuff, and all of it was jam packed with everything. So yeah, thanks for driving headwind into all that crappy rain, because it all slowed down when it hit New England, and then we've been sitting in to the point of hey, when's the arc rolling through? I was at the point of thinking dropping ham radio and getting to shipbuilding. It was getting so bad around here. It was pretty bad.
So hey, is there an emergency kind of mechanism? Like, let's say you passed out or something, that your chute would automatically deploy?
Yes. So part of the process is there are 4 gear checks. Your gear gets checked before you put it on. Your gear gets checked after you put it on. Your gear gets checked when you get in the plane, and then your gear gets checked again before you get out of the plane. And part of that check is the AAD, the automatic deployment, whatever it is. But so if you are still in free fall and you're at 1,100 or 1,150 feet, something like that, above ground, the AAD will automatically fire your reserve.
Fire the reserve?
Yes.
Well, you don't want to do it in the main one because you're knocked out.
Yeah, no, that's your emergency is the reserve. So
what do you mean you wouldn't want to do the main one?
Well, if you're passed out, or say you're not passed out and accidentally you're like trying to do something and, the altimeter screws up or something like that, you don't want your main chute firing. Like that's the one you usually have.
Well, if you have the reserve and it doesn't open, can you go back to the main?
No.
So why wouldn't it open the main one first?
Well, because it's not set up that way. You should be deploying your main on your own,
right?
But so there's altitude marks that like we have to know. So 2,500 feet is the absolute lowest. That is the critical point where you have to decide if your main can be landed. If your main cannot be landed by 2,500 feet, you have to cut it away and pull your reserve. But if something was to go wrong, where like I didn't have the ability to pull my reserve and I'm in a fast fall because my main didn't open, when that AAD fires off that reserve, now that reserve could get tangled up in the main and I could be plummeting anyway. So like, yeah, you really want to be altitude aware and making those decisions well before you get to the minimums.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome, man. It's a lot to learn. It's not just like jumping out of a plane and free falling and pulling a chute and floating down and having fun.
Nope.
Yeah. It has been recommended that I make the drive to Chicago and do 10 minutes in the tunnel.
Oh, cool.
Now,
we have one of those in Nashua.
Yes. I didn't use it though.
Right.
It would have been to my benefit to have it gone and tried it. Just to understand.
But yeah.
Well, yeah. So apparently, though, 10 minutes in the tunnel equals about the same cost as a jump.
Oh, okay.
And so I was talking to one of the other girls in the school with me, and she's almost ready to. She's right at the end. She's 26 jumps, but she's still got a couple marks to hit. And she goes to the tunnel every Wednesday, and I was like, oh my God, how much does that cost you? It's like, $300 and something per week.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's crazy. Ouch.
Yeah.
For 10 minutes?
I would assume she goes longer than that. I think the 10 minutes is, 130 to 150, somewhere in that range. But,
I know when
it's expensive.
Zach did it a couple years ago.
Good news is you're already used to it. The hobby. Well, sadly with skydiving, you don't want to like build your own at all. It's not one of those hobbies, but
build your own.
Well, I definitely. The thing is, though, is like, I mean, I don't have endless freaking pockets.
No, true.
So this is where if anybody appreciates what the hell I'm doing, I did update my GoFundMe page with today's information, and I was like, look, I hope everybody had a wonderful Mother's Day. This is what I did today. I don't want to know what it cost me to get here, because to me that cost is irrelevant.
Sure.
Like my travel and everything, that cost is irrelevant. The cost of the school is a little over $5,000. And if anybody's willing to help, I appreciate it. Todd, thank you. Because yeah, it's expensive. It is a very, very expensive fucking sport.
All right.
You heard it here. So
well, we want to see more jumps. So start throwing your pennies or your dollars into the GoFundMe page. So Paul.
Apparently, when I command people to go do certain things, it seems to work. So in this case, like I told Ted to go stop what he was doing in the middle of this podcast and dial the phone number. I am commanding everybody in this podcast, if you got a couple of bucks, head over to our livefreeandham.com website, click that button up in the top right-hand corner and go over and help, Paul there get one step closer to completing his Class A and getting his expensive hobby, but very fucking cool hobby, period.
Look at you, like your excitement talking about it is like, I'm telling you, it's like you're a different you.
Oh,
like
dude,
you're not just camping Paul or the Grouch. You're just like skydiving Paul, and it's like nothing.
This is like the hear no Grouch, see no Grouch, speak no Grouch.
It's like you're invincible. Like nothing's gonna stop you from you're doing this, and it's happening. Hell or high water. Like you're doing it.
You are and always will be Keely fucking Jones.
Yes, you will. You would totally will. No, dude, first and foremost, thanks for sharing. I know it was a lot fire hose for those folks listening, but dude, it was a fun time just waiting in anticipation across the line there and waiting for updates and seeing what he's got going on. And I'm sure he's going to have a shit ton of time or try to find a shit ton of time to edit all those freaking videos he's going to put together with all the content that, he's backlogged on.
Well, the hours here, right? Weekends, it starts at 8:15. On Monday, Thursday, Friday, it starts at noon. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are closed. So Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm gonna grocery shop and clean the freaking trailer because it's a mess in here. And it's gonna just nothing but video editing this week. I will say that next week I should be meeting up with Sean, ham radio dude, to do an Illinois POTA.
Oh, very cool.
So, yeah,
nice.
So,
see if we can get a ham radio dude, masked and eval. We'll say.
Well, I mean, I've got the POTA 20. I just need the little dude spike thing.
Yeah. Sweet. Oh man, so jealous. So cool. Awesome stuff. All right. Well, my voice is shot, as you can tell. It's totally going, and my cold meds are starting to really wear off here. So I've got to go back upstairs and retire for the night, and hopefully I can fight through this crap because I got a couple other videos that I got to do myself, and I got to record them. And I can only imagine I'm not going to be able to do voiceovers. It's all going to be ASMR only, and I don't know if my audience is ready for that. So. So with that, let's wrap this stuff up. All right. So as always, thanks again, everybody, for joining the Live Free and Ham podcast community. We truly appreciate everybody who has jumped in and been part of our Patreon crew or is over in our Discord. We thank you guys all for the support, and we appreciate you guys. And can't thank you guys enough. And you can always connect with us by heading over to our Discord server, join in the conversation, links in all of our show notes. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. We have some awesome content there. I know Todd's still working on some videos, and hopefully we'll get a couple more. Well, this week we ain't getting rain days, but he'll get a chance to get some of his videos done there. And those will be up there soon. And you can always leave us a review or just a message or anything like W1TED did for us. You can use our SMS link located in our show notes, or you can use our voicemail message with the 978 number. And we apologize profusely. We can't afford the 603 number, but if you want to chip into Paul's stuff first before you start chipping in for our phone number, because we'll go on with life. We want to see Paul get his Class A there. So, and you can always let us know at 978-233-1142. And as always, you can support our show by joining our Patreon or buy us a beer. And then you can always head over to livefreeandham.com, learn about the show, check out our latest swag, find everything about our host info. And thanks again from all of us at Live Free and Ham and 7-3.
7-3. Thanks for giving me the show.
Dude.